Blackpool's off-field issues have been well documented over the years, and whilst there is still some uncertainty over their future, good times seem to have returned. The Oystons were removed from the club and a receiver has been appointed by the courts to oversee the selling of the football assets. After 4 years away, the fans finally returned to Bloomfield Road following the removal of the Oyston family. Over 15,000 fans packed into the stadium for the game against Southend United on March 9, which is compared to 4,000 in the game before. Despite all that, the side have been performing well under Terry McPhillips in League One and are battling for a place in the playoffs. We spoke to Blackpool writer Matt Scrafton to get the lowdown on what Plymouth Argyle can expect from the side on Saturday. It's been a crazy few years for Blackpool. How do you sum up the off-field saga? That's impossible to do in just a few sentences. It's been a ridiculous saga which, at times, looked like it would never be resolved. Owen Oyston has now been removed from his role as director after a 31-year reign. The club is now in the hands of a core receiver with a new board. There's still a slim chance Oyston, who owes former director Valery Belkin in the region of £28 million, can get the money together and retake control of the club. But that appears unlikely, and the receiver is currently seeking interest from potential buyers, with a view to selling the club this summer. What is the feeling around the place by fans now? The atmosphere around the town is completely revitalized and chalk and cheese to how it was a few weeks ago. Over 15,000 home fans packed into Bloomfield Road for the homecoming game against Southend United at the start of the month, and another big crowd is expected this weekend. After a 4-year boycott, the infighting has finally stopped and the future appears bright, with everyone pulling in the same direction. Most importantly of all, fans are now able to talk about the football again. To still be battling for a playoff place despite all the off-field issues is quite remarkable. How have they done that? Blackpool fans protest outside the stadium prior to the FA Cup third-round match between Blackpool and Arsenal at Bloomfield Road on January 5, 2019. Getty Images. The players have done very well this season, but right from the start they made it clear the playoffs is what they were aiming for. Gary Bowyer's recruitment was excellent during the summer, and, having finished in 12th place in their first season back in League One, a playoff challenge seemed like the logical next step. Their success is very much based on their solid foundations and watertight defense that has kept 16 clean sheets this season. But at the other end of the pitch they've only scored 43 goals in 39 games, which will probably be their downfall if they don't make it into the top 6. By comparison, Plymouth have scored 49 and Rockdale, third from bottom, have scored 47. Gary Bowyer left earlier in the season and Terry McPhillips took over. Was that the right decision? After Bowyer's shock departure just one game into the season, his assistant manager McPhillips took charge initially on an interim basis. He said he had no interest in the job, but that soon changed after a run of 4 wins, 4 draws and just the 1 defeat, which left the Seasiders just outside the playoffs. The club subsequently had no other option but to give him the job. Despite a couple of sticky spells, Blackpool remain in 8th position in the league, so you'd have to say it was the right decision. What can Argyle expect from a McPhillips Blackpool team at home? Blackpool manager Terry McPhillips. Image, Dave Roundtree, PPA UK. I know we're more than 3/4 of the way through the season, but I don't think they have a blueprint for how to play at home. They can be very inconsistent. Blackpool are 14th in the table when only home results are taken into account, compared to 6th for away fixtures. They would like to get it down and play football, but the pitch doesn't help things, so at times they've had to mix things up and get the ball up to 6 feet 4 in striker Armand Nandwi and play from there. The Seasiders have drawn against Southend and Doncaster Rovers in the 2 home games since the fans have returned from their boycott, so they'll be looking for the crowd to cheer them on to a win this weekend. Who are the dangermen? Armand Gnanduillet is the club's top scorer with 14 goals, with 2 of those coming in the 4-1 win at Bradford City last weekend, which earned the applause of both sets of supporters when he was brought off. Jay Spearing also brings a lot of quality on the ball in the centre of midfield and does some vital defensive work. Curtis Tilt is another standout player who was the subject of interest from championship clubs during the summer transfer window. Argyle captain Gary Sawyer challenges for a header with Blackpool striker Arnaud Gnanduillet. What is the injury and suspension latest? Things are looking pretty rosy in that respect. Mark Bola and Curtis Tilt, 2 key defenders, returned from injury at Bradford last week, so they should be fit and available once again. First-choice goalkeeper Mark Howard is out for the remainder of the season after rupturing his Achilles in the defeat at Burton, but Christopher Mifumbi came in last week and performed superbly. Right-back Ollie Turton is close to a return, but Jimmy Ryan and Max Clayton are long-term absentees who haven't featured all season.